There is a fifth dimension.
About the unknown.
Beyond that which is known to man.
The Garden of Thought.
The Babylon Project was our last best hope for peace.
Unexplained.
Mythology.
This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call
The Garden of Thought with Jeff Lippman.
Eventually, our sun will grow cold and go out.
You're listening to something much bigger, something hidden in plain sight.
It won't just take us. It'll take Marilyn Monroe and Lao Tzu and Einstein. All of this was for nothing unless we go to the stars.
What you're about to learn will completely change the way you experience your mind, your thoughts, and yourself.
Let's make sure that history never forgets the name.
The Garden of Thought.
Welcome, everyone, to the Gospel of Thomas. We're back after a couple weeks, and with us we have our special guest, Leo Fox. How are you doing, Leo? How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic, guys. How are y'all?
Yeah, we're good. And of course, the Gospel of Thomas means that there's Mr. Thomas, codename Mr. Thomas. What's up, Mr. Thomas?
I don't know. We're back. It seems like we're on, we're off. I'm on vacation. I got the old HBK schedule. We almost had another day off today, but we slipped it in.
I know. Well, you've got this summer schedule, and you know it's. I'm not used to a summer schedule.
I'm traveling next month, so take me off the board.
Oh my goodness! Well, you might have to find me. Is Kane doing anything? I might need a co-host.
You got to do something.
Yeah, that's all right. All right. So, maybe
where are you traveling to next month?
Yeah, where are you traveling to next month?
That's a good question. Texas is always cheap this time of year. I think I'm going to be in like Colombia. I might stop in Texas on my way to San Diego.
I love it.
Well, Columbia, the country, that's travel. I don't know that going to Texas.
Yeah, not like Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, or Columbia, Maryland.
Yeah.
What are you going to do in Colombia besides Colombian women?
Turn my cell phone off is what I'm going to do. And possibly never come back.
Okay.
I'm going to live the American dream elsewhere.
Well, you hear that, Leo? There might be an opening in MLW pretty soon. So, you know, you can.
I dig it. I absolutely dig it. That's awesome, man.
Yeah. So, Leo, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Man, that's always the toughest question, right? Tell us a little bit about yourself. I'm a professional wrestler out of Oklahoma. I got into the business a little bit later in life because I was spent most of my adult life as a soldier in the Army. I was an infantryman in Iraq. I came back, and after I got off active duty, I was a firefighter paramedic and a flight paramedic for a couple of years, and started having some problems with addiction because I got a traumatic brain injury in Iraq, and finally got sober and decided, you know what? I want to try being a pro wrestler, and that's where we are today.
Well, there's a lot there. First, thank you for your service, both abroad and at home. I think being an air EMT or an aerial EMT or medic, that sounds sort of amazing. So Oklahoma, where in Oklahoma are you from? I'm strangely familiar with Oklahoma. For a kid from Long Island, New York, I've been to Oklahoma like 18 times.
Is that right? Yeah, I'm from a little place called McAllister, which is 90 miles south of Tulsa.
Okay. Well, Tulsa's like the Paris of Oklahoma. I have spent more time in Oklahoma City and a town called Ada. So
I live 60 miles from Ada, believe it or not.
I believe it, sure. So here is my driving once from Dallas to Ada story. So I'm in a little convoy of people. So basically, in real life, I'm a lawyer, believe it or not, and these are lawyers from around the country. We all have the same client, and they're having a conference in Ada because that's where the headquarters are or were. So a bunch of us have the great idea that we're going to fly into Dallas. We'll spend the night in Dallas, go out to a restaurant, whatever, hang out, and then we'll sort of convoy up there. So we do it, and it's only like 3.5 hours, no big deal. And we pull over the state line. I think it's in Oklahoma. We get to a steakhouse called Gramblers or Gramplers, something like that. And it's one of those places, if you can eat a 48-ounce steak in less than this is free, 72 ounces this. And we're like, this place is going to be great. And we go in and we're like, and we want to have a bunch of pitchers of beer. And it's like all of a sudden, like the record player goes, and like Kevin Bacon starts dancing. They're like, this is a dry county. And I'm like, so it was Footloose. So that's so. All right.
Listen, my beef with Oklahoma City is impossible to get there. I have couple friends of mine that live there, and I always try to find like something that I don't have to connect 3 times to get there. And even when I'm in like Dallas or somewhere, there's still no direct flights. It makes no sense. I don't understand what the trick is to try to fly to Oklahoma City direct from like any of 7 other places that I've been to this year, and it just never lines up.
Dude, you can't. You absolutely can't. That's true. When I moved up to Cleveland for 6 months to train with EC3 full time, I would fly home for the weekend once a month to see my wife, and then I would have to fly from Houston or Oklahoma City. I'd have to connect through Houston, which is 8 hours south, just to get to Cleveland. Like the last time my wife was like, you could probably drive it faster by the time, you know what I mean? Like you get to the airport and then you got a 5-hour layover in Houston and it's supposed to be an international airport. That is that's like the downside of Oklahoma is, you know, just the travel. There's no public transit. There's no public transit in Oklahoma City, nothing like that.
I'm used to connecting living in Tampa. So like this is impossible. And Jeff, you mentioning that like it's like 3.5 hour drive from Dallas, like sparks a little interest in my brain. Not that I love driving, but I also don't want to be driving to Oklahoma in a rental car speeding, trying to make up for lost time. So
well, we were convoy alerts. So of course, what did I do? I rented, because there were like 4 of us from my office. I got a big car, and of course I've always wanted to own a Cadillac, but I never was going to get a Cadillac. So I rented a giant Cadillac. First thing I do is I open the door and bang my shin with it because the door was so goddamn big and low. I've never. So that was my first very cool. And I'm not bagging on Oklahoma at all. I like Oklahoma. I have very fond memories of Oklahoma. I love Riverwalk. I love Mantle Steakhouse. I really enjoy Oklahoma. The Redbirds, yay. But we went to a winery in Oklahoma, and I won like some wines and some bucket and whatever, and they had to ship it to me because you can't transport it either. And so we drank some of it. I got instant bilateral radiculopathy, like on both sides of my jaw. It's like I had like instant lockjaw from this wine, and it's like we wouldn't even cook with it. So listen, Maryland wine stinks too. So those are my 2 Oklahoma stories that I feel like telling at the moment. All right, kid from Oklahoma. Did you join the Army as a career choice? Did you join the Army because it was soon after sort of 9/11 and the Iraq War, and you were a surge of patriotism, or were you in trouble, you had nothing to do, or Army family, or what was your story?
So it was a mixture of 2 things. So like after 9/11 happened, I was in elementary school, but I told everyone I knew right then that I was going to join the military. Well, I guess not so much right. It was after we invaded Afghanistan, which was like, 60 days after 9/11. So, but I grew up in a real abusive home. So like I needed to get out any way that I could anyway. And so it was a twofold. But like, even if I would have grown up in the greatest of households, you know what I mean? Like that wasn't like racist, anti-Semitic, xenophobic, just physically abusive home, like I still would have joined the military, but it definitely pushed the idea onto me quicker, if that makes sense.
Sure it does. I mean, I'm impressed that, obviously this is hindsight, but I don't know if you grow up in a home like that you realize that it's racist and anti-Semitic and xenophobic without, I don't know that your worldview allows for that, and apparently yours did. So that's pretty impressive in and of itself.
Yeah, I was very lucky that I had a grandma that grew up in the 60s and, was like, very much like, like she just, I would stay with her for, weeks at a time when my parents would go on benders, and she would just, talk about, like, don't listen to your parents. Like, black people are not going to burn in hell because of the color of their skin, like just because, Muslims don't pray or, pray to Allah instead of someone's name named Jesus Christ doesn't mean they're going to burn in hell. Like, it was just like, I had this grandma that was my rock, you know what I mean? And so that's what it's pretty much saved my life,
That's awesome. All right. Well, tell us a little bit about your service. I mean, you enroll. I guess you sort of had it in your mind that you were going to go overseas, but when you join the military, you don't get to decide where you're going. They decide where you're going.
Yeah. So I went to basic at Fort Benning, and I was like jazzed to go. And it's the same old story that you hear from everybody. As soon as you get there, like, a drill sergeant comes on the bus and he's real calm, and he's like, my name's Drill Sergeant so-and-so. Welcome to Fort Benning, home of the infantry. And that was the last words that I heard that wasn't screaming for like the first 6 weeks. And he was like, now get the fuck off my bus. And it was hell on earth for, about 6 weeks. And then it chilled for a couple of weeks, and then another 10 weeks of infantry school. And then I was stationed in Fort Hood, Texas for 72 days. And then within 72 days, I was landing in Baghdad International Airport, where I was for the next 13 months. And it was a long, crazy deployment, and got, suffered some injuries over there, but ultimately made it home alive. And I turned 19 over there, as a matter of fact. And made it home alive. And being young when I first got back, it was pretty easy to have like a six pack, or have a couple of shots in the evening time. And PTSD wasn't like, I was able to hold like the effects of PTSD back, you know what I mean? But my mental health started deteriorating pretty rapidly whenever the VA started putting me on Oxycontin in different, actually 3 different types of opiates. They were just mailing them to my PO box every month because of the injuries that I sustained. And so about I guess about 7, because I've been sober 7.5 years now. So about I guess about 10 years ago is when I really started seeing the effects of the war. It took a good while for the effects of the war to really take over, but when they did, it was like a tsunami. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Listen, me following you is no prize, but I do remember it was about 2.5 years ago that you posted basically a summation of your story on the. I'm like, I'm gonna follow this guy. I'm gonna track his progress. Again, you didn't win any prize by me following you, but and you follow me back and all that, and then you would some pictures. You as sort of a not a skinny kid, but a regular sized kid, and then you more recent pictures where you're a big jack dude. I'm like, that's really cool. I mean, that's the transformation of a wrestler. And then, but I had already read the other biography of all the ordeals and the basically the uphill climb before that. I know that there's probably not a lot of great things that came out of being in Iraq, but there has to be some things that you look back with in fondness, like the food, some people, tea, some culture, something. Did you learn Arabic? Were there some, it sounds stupid, but were they high points of war?
So in the moment, I would say definitely the people that I served with, because I hate social media, but the great thing that I do love about social media is that I get to keep up with the friends of mine that are still alive that I served with. As a matter of fact, my buddy Ricardo Chavez lives in LA now, and he got out of the military and the same as me, started chasing his dream, and works for a recording studio in Los Angeles now, and makes my custom entrance music for me now. So that was definitely an uphill. I mean, that was definitely a bright side. And then things that were a positive influence on me in the military, again, growing up in such a racist, abusive home. Like one of my closest friends he was in the military, and he was gay, and he was also black. And so like it really helped change my perception of the world. Like, sadly, when I seen him pass away, it was just like, like that guy gave his life for a country that like he never even felt fully comfortable in. Like he couldn't be openly gay in the military. Anytime he walked into a store, just because of the color of his skin, people watched him. just automatically thinking he was going to steal something. And for him to still be so selfless and to go over and fight a war for a country that a large portion of the people in it don't even give a shit about him. Like, to see that kind of sacrifice from people was really something that I held on to, if that makes sense, so that was an extremely bright spot looking back now.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sort of like a myth and history buff. I don't know if you got to take in any of the archaeology or the history or any of the Babylonian or Sumerian stuff, or nah, man, we were in tanks. We were just trying to not hit IEDs and get shot.
Yeah, no, I did not. I got to see, I think I can't remember how many sets of them, but there's several in the city of Baghdad. There's the giant swords, the cross swords over the highways. I got to see. I got my picture with those on a road. I'm trying to think what road it was. It wasn't Highway 1, but it was in southeastern Baghdad. And then, but yeah, no, nothing else. No, I patrolled down the banks of the Tigris River. That was one cool thing. And like, so, Iraq is just all dust, right? But right off the Tigris River, about the first 70 yards off the Tigris River, it looks like you're in like Vietnam. It's just a complete jungle. It's actually beautiful. It's like a beautiful spot in Iraq, because of the land's actually getting water in that, 50 to 70 yards off the banks there. But the Tigris is, most people know the Tigris because where the Tigris and the Euphrates meet is where, in biblical times, that's where they say, Adam and Eve lived, so just really cool, really cool to be able to see the Tigris River. But other than that, it was just fucking sand and try not to get hit with IEDs, my friend.
Yeah. Thomas, you got anything on this?
I got nothing for the sand and the IEDs. Far
that I'd be calling everything like
ever be, because I could never.
I'd be running around. I mean, first of all, I wouldn't be doing anything, but if I was there running around, I'd be doing like Operation Gilgamesh and, Hail Enki, Hail Enlil, I'd be, Anuma Elish, and everyone be like, shut up, nerd. All right. Enough of my nerd stuff. We're going to get to some of your nerd stuff a little bit later on, but where I think when I saw your name on the old X there, I believed I recognized it from Control Your Narrative. And when we were speaking just briefly earlier, EC3 was on the show, and that was sort of his thing. He's a really interesting guy. A lot of people in that promotion seemed like they were, your Braun Strowman, you had your Killer Crosses, you had the Forgotten Sons fellas, Killian Dane. I mean, I can't remember any, what names people are going by now or whatnot. But what was that like? What was it like? How'd you get recruited? How'd you find them? Like, what was that experience like?
So, I had 6 matches underneath my belt because, like I said, I got into the business later in life, and I was working a small show in Amarillo, Texas, and I had a buddy that he was a promoter, and he saw me, and he booked me, like I said. It was my 6th match, and he had sent a picture of me to his son, Jake Logan, that was working for CYN, and he was like, hey man, you ought to introduce this guy to EC3. This kid's like, he needs some direction, but I think he's got something. And so after the show, like I had a message from Jake Logan, and this was a Friday night show, and so we talked over the weekend and stuff. And then Wednesday, he was like, "Yeah, you need to try to get to meet EC3 sometime." And he was like, "He's going to be in Minnesota this Friday. If there's any way you could get to Minnesota by Friday." And this was, like I said, this was at this point it was Wednesday. So I looked up where the show was, and it was I think it was 14 hours one way. And I was like, well, it's just, I didn't have any bookings this weekend or anything like that particular weekend. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to go for it. So without contacting the promoter, without having Jake tell EC3 I was on my way or anything, I just drove 14 hours by myself one way to meet EC3. I didn't even know if I was going to get in the building without having to buy a ticket. But I showed up, introduced myself to the promoter, and he was like, yeah, well, I'm sure we can find you something. You're 6'2", 280 pounds. Like, if nothing else, like, you can put someone over. And I was like, fuck yeah. So I was the first person there. And it just so happened that within 5 minutes of me getting done talking to the promoter, EC3 and Richard Holiday walked in. And the three of us, they had just met, and the three of us sat down and talked on a couch for the next 5 hours, and none of us even talked about wrestling. The last 15 minutes was about wrestling. We talked about, Richard Holiday's fun stuff that he likes to do, about Michael, about EC3's eccentricities and all, and everything that he likes to do in his spare time, and it was really fun. And then so when the last 15 minutes, I told three, I was like, hey, if you don't mind, would you watch my match? Like, I'm trying to do what you do, trying to do this full time. And he was like, can of course he said yes. So he watched my 7th career match. And when I got to the back, he was like, well, I can tell you're green as fuck, but at least you can listen. I can tell you can follow. He's like, can you cut a promo? And of course, I had just drove 14 hours to get there. So I had a promo like in the fucking chamber, So I was like, yeah, man. So he's like, let's go find a room. And so we take off, and I'm still breathing heavy from, the 12, 14-minute match that we just had. He finds the smallest room possible. It was a cleaning closet. And so we get in there, and we are literally like, our pecs are touching each other, right? And he pulls out his phone and sets a timer for 60 seconds. And it's awkward because I'm standing pec to pec with this guy that, I watched on TV beat Kurt Angle when I was a kid, right? And he's like, all right, you got 60 seconds, go. And so I cut this promo, and I end it with, I don't want my life to be defined by empty pill bottles and bloody army uniforms. And that's why I'm here. And he's looking at his phone, and he counted out the rest of the seconds that I had left. And he was like, 57, 58, 59, 60. Holy fuck, what a promo. Can you be in Orlando next month? And I just started like kind of tearing up. I was like, I absolutely fucking can. And so 3 weeks later, I was in Orlando, and that was my first match with CYN. And from then on, like me and Michael, me and EC3 have just gotten closer and closer, and it was really cool. What I love to take away from that is like that first 5 hours that we met, we didn't talk about wrestling. Not a single thing was said about wrestling the first 4 hours and 45 minutes. So it was almost like we met at a coffee shop and didn't know that both of us were pro wrestlers. You know what I mean? So like, our relationship wasn't built on pro wrestling, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Like,
it makes perfect sense.
Like,
it's just an area of common ground we all have.
Well, Holiday and Thomas
exactly,
are friends from work. So, or you could be friends from work. So
that's exactly how I call it. Like, we're just friends from work.
So what are some of the fun things? Because I'm hearing you talking for 4 hours and 45 minutes. And after having, one interview with EC3, I'm wondering, like, did anyone else have to do any talking? Because, like, me, I talk a lot. Yeah, so it was hard for me to get a word in edgewise on my own show.
Don't worry, Richard Holiday gets his shit in no matter what. Trust me.
That's all right. So what was aside from coffee, what does Richard Holiday like to talk about?
Hey, surprisingly, that was the first thing until you said besides coffee. That was the first thing I was going to say is they both had like these fancy coffees. I guess that's where they came from. They came from the airport. They hit a local coffee shop and then came there. And I was drinking some, Keurig black coffee that they had in the locker room. And I bet 20, 30 minutes was spent on just talking about just going to different towns and hitting the local coffee shops, which is something that they both got me into doing now. Like now, every time I pull into a town, like I work OVW on Thursdays, and every time I get to Louisville, I try to find a different non-chain coffee shop. So, but yeah, coffee was one of the first things that we talked about. And I don't I don't really remember everything that we talked about in that conversation, because there was so much that was talked about. We talked about EC3's grandfather was in World War II and he got a Bronze Star, and so like he had seen my Bronze Star tattoo, and so he asked about that, and he told me some stories that his grandfather told him. This was, and just personal stuff like that. You know what I mean? A lot of stuff like like you talked about, like where he said that, I think I'm going to read the Bible this weekend. Like we talked about books that we were both reading at the time. I was reading a book on JFK. I'm a huge nerd, a huge mark for JFK. And he asked me if I had read Bill O'Reilly's Killing Kennedy. And I was like, read it? I've read it like 3 times, brother. And he's like, oh, well, have you read Killing Lincoln and this and that? And so we got off on Bill O'Reilly's books, and we had a whole debate on if Bill O'Reilly is the real author of those books, or if he's just putting his name down on there and just little stuff. You know what I mean?
That's a big thing.
That
what was the conclusion? Is he a ghost? Is there a ghost writer, or is it really him?
Well, he does openly put on there, with, I forget the other guy's name. The other guy wrote like Taking Paris, which is I can't remember if it came out before or after these, but basically I don't think Bill O'Reilly wrote those books, because like in Killing Kennedy, he talks about how he actually tracked down the CIA handler of Lee Harvey Oswald in the 1970s and was knocking on his door to try to do a surprise interview with him, and he heard a shotgun go off. So he runs off, calls the cops, comes back and finds out that he was actually on the front doorstep when the CIA handler of Lee Harvey Oswald committed suicide. Well, he actually put that in the book and released it, and then all his coworkers from the 70s came out and said that's not true. And so he had to actually release a statement apologizing and saying that part of the book was embellished, and or not that it was embellished, that he misremembered and stuff like that. So but just this stuff like that is what we talked about. Just just nerdy fucking
you
stuff,
decide. That's what they always said. Luckily Bill O'Reilly had everyone forget that by having sex scandals. So he was able to move on to just the regular old-fashioned plagiarism to sex scandal, the normal graduation of things. I learned something rather.
I think we also, as a matter of fact, we talked about. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go.
Oh, I was just going to say, as a matter of fact, another topic we talked about was the Tiger Woods sex scandal, and we talked about how the guy that was probably the most thankful of the Tiger Woods sex scandal was David Letterman, because if you remember, he had a sex scandal that came out like 6 or 8 days prior. And it was like all over the news, and then Tiger Woods and his wife got into it.
That's a juicy story, though. Like, I would love to be second fiddle to that story, because oh man, getting overshadowed by Tiger and his like 20 waitresses, and this dude's got a thirst for fucking banging middle-aged single moms that work at diners. Hell yeah, brother! It's called low-hanging fruit. I'm the best golfer in the world.
Yeah, bro. It's like, I'm a self-made billionaire.
It's
like, why
never made more sense.
Yeah.
Low effort.
I'm surprised it took him 25 bitches to find one that like ratted on him, or I guess didn't even rat on him. His wife just found out, and she ratted on everyone for us.
Yeah. It took his wife taking a driver to his windshield before he got caught. You know what I mean? Like, he was so cool about it. His mistresses didn't even try to hit him up for money or nothing. Like,
his body has paid since then. Unfortunately, his back will not allow him to break every record in the world, because he was banging bitches. It's just a bad karma.
I know, man. When he won that Masters, when he was walking up on that 18th, when he won that Masters, like, and you could just see it in his eyes that he, you know what I mean? That he's like, I've made the comeback. This might be the last one. Like, dude, it brought tears to my eyes. And I'm not even like the biggest Tiger guy or even the biggest golf guy, but seeing him, like, after all that adversity and, having to fucking go to sex rehab just because he, likes to get laid, you know what I mean? But like, for the public image, you know what I mean? Like, him having to go through all that, and then he comes back, like, what, 8 years later and fucking kills it in the Masters. Like, I was like, hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
We all want to watch history. It's also, we build someone up to tear them down, but it's also, sometimes fun to see them build themselves back up again. At this point, I guess it's sort of for him. I heard something shocking recently, and that is that our friend here, Thomas, has not seen a Marvel movie. Now, he's since redeemed himself. He's since amended it and said that he's seen Black Panther. He didn't see Black Panther 2, which, by the way, good for you, because it stung.
I did see. I don't think I saw it in theaters. I saw it. Not good. Not good.
This story of yours just keeps falling apart.
I don't understand. But like, listen, just either fucking replace the guy or don't ever replace him ever again. Make your mind up. Yes, he was amazing in the first one, but like I like the little sister idea in the second one to try to keep the legacy going. But damn, homie, just there's another black guy out there. I promise. Or just say retiring this character and putting him in the fucking Hall of Fame and it'll never be recreated ever again. But they can't do that.
I would have recast him. I mean, how many Bonds have we had? How many Batmans have we had? I mean, granted, they didn't necessarily die, but other actors have died, you know, between...
It's okay. He would have been okay with it. Fucking A.
Yeah, pretty sure we would have wanted the character. And you know what? If they just cast Michael B. Jordan to do it, it would have been weird for exactly 3.5 minutes. And then
I know we don't want to talk about spoiler alerts, but didn't he get fucking got by the guy with the fucking thing and he got fucking murdered off anyway? Or did they bring him back with the Infinity Stone somehow? I skipped over 49 movies.
Okay, so I didn't understand what the fucking and the got.
I apologize. Didn't Thanos snap him off the face of the earth like he did with some of the other people? And did they reverse whatever that is to bring him back?
Yes, the movie called Endgame, much of it was the task of reversing the snap.
How many movies ago was that? But how many movies into it was it?
Okay, it was like 3 good movies ago and like 11 movies ago and like 7 bad TV shows. But no, I mean, one of the great scenes in history is the Falcon, now Captain America, saying to Captain America then, got your 6, on your 6, Cap, on your 6. And then all of a sudden, everybody comes back and like the Nova Corps is there and the hordes of Asgard are there.
And birds were crying in the fucking theater.
Oh my God. Listen, not only did they get me with Infinity Wars, but then in Ant-Man and the Wasp, at the end, I forgot about it, and they go to the van and they've all been snapped out of existence. They got me twice, those MFers.
So they're not going to replace Black Panther? Where are we at here?
They are. They're talking about recasting Black Panther, but I don't know who with.
I also saw, in more updated news that we should talk about, I'm more of a DC guy because I fucks with the Batman. I'm trying to stay in the loop with the, like, since the James Gunn director's cut version of Fantastic Four, that's where I've started. I'm trying to stay as much in the loop as possible. But I saw that Henry Cavill's willing to come back to the DC universe. And then someone also threw out there that possibly as the Batman. He would be a good Bruce Wayne. I don't think he'd be a good Batman.
I don't know. I'd like to see him as Shazam.
I don't know. He's a good looking guy.
Yes, he is.
No, that's all I know.
This took a turn I wasn't expecting, but okay.
New Superman at all?
So I'll be honest with you. I've never seen a Marvel movie as well. Well, does Suicide Squad, is that Marvel or is it DC?
It's neither. Oh.
No, it's DC. In fact, it's James Gunn.
Yes, we're in on James Gunn. I like the Peacemaker.
Yeah, Peacemaker was surprisingly funny. I mean, it was good. John Cena is good in that.
I've actually heard that was actually like good. Like Cena was actually
rewatchable. Good. It's fucking rewatchable. I'm going to plug our friend John Cena, my neighbor in Tampa, resident as well. But the second season of Peacemaker comes out on August 21st, which is next month, which will give me some episodic television to watch if you have what is now referred to as HBO again. After I hiatus of it not being called fucking HBO, and I'm still not sure what Max is, but I think it's back to being HBO Max. So
it is in fact back to being HBO Max.
This is not a plug, but I do highly recommend the entire season 1 of Peacemaker. You have enough time to watch one every week right now until leading up to the new second season.
Yeah, and
I'll definitely have to watch that.
And I actually thought people hated the Suicide Squad movie, the first movie. I didn't think it was bad. I thought it was okay because people hated it. I was expecting the worst. And Suicide Squad, the second one, is pretty good. And what's her name? Margot Robbie is Harley Quinn. She's fantastic.
I could do it.
Yeah.
I like
she's awesome.
Gritty, less cartoony.
She plays a New Jersey badass really well.
So does Liv Morgan.
Yeah, so does Liv Morgan. Yes, it's true.
So does Vicious Vicky. Shout out Vicious Vicky.
Yeah, listen, I'll give them all a shot. The multiverse of Harley Quinns is not something I'm opposed to. All right,
hold on. I don't want to let this topic go just yet.
Okay.
So, in the arc of this Marvel bullshit, they've got movies released till like 2033. So, what's next for them? What just came out? It's Fantastic Four, right? Is that a Marvel movie?
Yes, Fantastic Four is coming out.
My friend Paul Walter Hausen.
That's right. Your friend from work, Paul Walter Hauser.
Work is in a fucking Marvel movie.
I know. He's the mole man. Yeah. Fantastic Four is coming out. They're coming from an alternate universe. It's not clear whether they're going to be the Fantastic Four going forward for good.
It's for weird people you wouldn't think to be superheroes, like Pascal, that guy, whatever that guy's name. I don't understand that.
I don't.
And the guy from The Bear. I just don't understand. I don't get it. But where are we going here? What comes next, and then what comes next in the DC universe?
Well, all right. Well, what comes next in Marvel is they're leading to Doctor Doom and Secret Wars and the X-Men versus the Avengers, when, of course, then they make up and fight whoever the bad guys are at some point. DC, James Gunn is building the entire thing around Superman, but apparently there's another The Batman coming out.
Yeah, first off, don't say it with that fucking tone, number one. You watch your mouth when you talk about the Batman. More specifically, I think they just wrapped and finalized that script, but that doesn't come out till October 2027. I think they're filming starting in October, and it's been confirmed that we will have a snowy, wintry Gotham City. But that's not till 2027. The internet's telling me right now that Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, is set for next summer. There's also something called The Authority, Batman 2 Dynamic Duo in 2028. Doesn't look like anything's coming out soon.
What about the Lanterns is supposed to be a TV?
Oh, the Lanterns. I apologize. I scrolled down. I did skip the Alfred Pennyworth HBO series that was dog shit, but it looks like we're getting Peacemaker season 2. I'm not sure how that's going to advance the story overall. Lanterns, a TV series featuring Green Lanterns, set for 2026. Waller, a character based on Amanda Waller. I'm not sure who that is. We're also getting
Davis.
We're also getting Booster Gold, Paradise Lost, which is Wonder Woman's home, and a Blue Beetle animated series.
And nobody cares about the Blue Beetle. They're talking about recasting Wonder Woman and a whole bunch of these characters. So, which is good. Look, I like that DC is trying to recast with younger talent, where Marvel has given us.
Yeah, because you get a long term.
Yeah, I don't need Mr. Fantastic to be my age.
I just don't understand the repurposing of characters. Whoever plays fucking Iron Man coming back as Doctor Strange, Robert Downey Jr., no disrespect, the best white guy to ever play a black guy in the history of movies. So I want to give credit where credit's due, but I don't understand the repurposing of characters. So
I don't either. I think it was just a cheap stunt to wipe the stink off of the Kang thing, but I don't know. But, whatever. I'm going to be optimistic about it because I like it. But yes, I would have preferred that they cast someone else to be Dr. Doom. I don't need to see Robert Downey Jr. again in this one. And I don't know why you need to pay $220 million to any actor when you already have billion-dollar franchises. I mean, I get it if you're building a new franchise and you want to have a star. This I understand. But I never understood why they had Vin Diesel to be Groot or Bradley Cooper to be.
No, it does. Give me some no names. Give me a no name and build off some young black guy from New Jersey,
like Chad Boswell or whatever his name was, and Chris Helmsford and Chris Evans, who was basically a no name. I mean, and they turned them into stars. Now they're big deals, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, Leo. What are your thoughts on this? What do you think about the WNBA and equal pay?
Oh, Jesus.
Dude, what? So the WNBA, they ticket sales are up like what? It was like I know of the Indiana Fever year to year from before they picked Caitlin Clark to her rookie season was up 140%, right?
Yeah, they're sold out forever. But I think attendance overall is up 30-40% across the board, mostly because Caitlin Clark plays on the road.
Yeah,
that's all. That's all life is. But equal pay, no, a little bump in pay. Probably, but it's their CBA to negotiate. What are they going to do? Fucking go on strike?
Yeah, no, and I don't think they will ever get. They'll never get equal pay. That's just not possible. They're a subsidy of the NBA losing $40 million a year, right? So I do think that if you're a fucking WNBA superstar on TV every day, I think you deserve more than $80,000 a year. But
Caitlin Clark doesn't give a fuck about her actual payroll check. Her Gatorade contract fucking flushes that. Now, when it comes to the other girls, I truly understand, being a professional athlete and still having to go to to work next fucking weekend sounds crazy to me. Same thing with school teachers. Like, let's just give them a little more money, like making 70, 80 grand. I understand running a startup in the fucking red for the first however many years, but you have to pay your employees. I think they get like 9% of whatever the overall fucking revenue is, or revenue or lack of revenue, however you want to quote it, but 9% of the budget is only for payroll. Brother, can I get 15% total? So like, I don't think they're asking for a lot, a little bump. So maybe they can, not have to be a fucking lifeguard at the YMCA for the 3 months of the year that they're off from work, while also trying to be the best at their profession to keep their $88,000 a year job. So yeah, let's do that. Let's work on that.
All right.
Yeah, I seen several interviews with Sue Bird where, she talked about how lucky she was that she had a team over in Russia the first 6 years that she was in the league that paid her $1 million a year to go over there. And so she would only get like 6 weeks off from the basketball court out of a 12-month, after a full year. And you know what I mean? But like, she would play, the 38 games or whatever in the WNBA. She was winning championships and wasn't even breaking $50K a year.
Yeah. And then all those girls had to go to like China and Europe to like actually make a living. And
yeah.
And that's if Brittany Griner got used as a political pawn for a year and a half. So
also that, don't bring weed to Russia next time, but hey, follow the rules.
Well, there is that too, but still,
listen, it would have been just as I would have done the same thing. I'd fucking try to sneak my pen into Japan, and they'll send me back when I get, I'll be fine. I'll try.
Yeah, but in Russia they kept her for like a year and a half. But that's a little different there in Russia. All right, so I want to go back to CYN. So like you talked about Richard Holloway, you talked about EC3. Who else did you bond with?
I'm a big like 90s music mark, right? So when I was growing up, like I said, I didn't grow up in a very good home. So like the old late night MTV where they would show the best of the 90s music videos, like that was a big thing for me, right? So I actually have as part of my sleeve, I have this big tattoo of Eazy-E and one of Tupac and the one of Nirvana, right? And so I was sitting there one day and Big Damo came in and happened to see my tattoo of Kurt Cobain. And he's a big mark for Kurt Cobain as well. And so me and Damo sat there for an hour and he pulled up his old Hotmail account and pulled up emails from when he was 16 years old. And he was emailing with Kurt Cobain's biographer, Charles Cross, and was showing me these emails about where Charles Cross was telling him like personal stories of him and Kurt being acquaintances in the early 90s and stuff. And I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. But yeah, Big Damo was cool, man. When I cut my first promo in front of everybody, Adam Braun Strowman, like as soon as I cut it, like I got a little standing ovation and I got it on video. Braun was like, "Brother, I thought you were the fucking new guy, man. You got me crying and you got me having chill bumps at the same fucking time." And Austin Aries was sitting next to him, was like, "Yeah, he ain't lying." And at that point, like I just kind of like broke down and like went over and dabbed him up and gave him a hug and stuff. So me and Braun, we spent a lot of time on the road together. Austin Aries, I got to talk to Aries quite a bit. I only got to meet Killer Cross twice. He was really helpful, but I didn't really, like get to hang out with him as much as I did the other guys. But yeah.
Austin Aries, another one of your friends from work.
No, not my friend. He does work at my work though.
All right, fine. Okay. All right. But I've been asking this just because it's sort of like my thing, but it's been rather successful. Have you ever had a paranormal experience?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I haven't, but I do love the X-Files though. So I'm not like, I want to believe, but I've never had a paranormal experience myself.
Yeah.
Whether it be like paranormal or extraterrestrial, anything like that. Like I have never had one.
Right.
Have you?
I have, and I've told it a bunch of times on my other shows, and it's like all my stories, it's a little bit long, and it's from a while ago. So this is during my first marriage with my oldest child, and at the time my only child, still in the crib. So whatever you are to still be in a crib, but you can speak a little bit, like he could speak in like little sentences. So probably like 2.5-ish.
Okay.
So me and my then wife, we're in bed sleeping. I'm having a dream, and I swear I have a dream about my maternal grandfather. And all of a sudden, you have those baby monitors, which are basically like one-way walkie-talkies, and it goes like off the charts staticky, like when the movies where the Geiger counter hits the radioactivity, it goes crazy. It was like this. It's like, and like, listen, everybody in the neighborhood there had baby monitors, so you could hear if somebody else's garage door went up or if somebody else was talking in their room or whatever. Everybody knew what regular static was on. This was crazy. It even woke up my damn wife. And so we both, and we hear the boy, his name's Jake, and he's talking, but he doesn't sound like he's sad or whatever, but we both run into the room. Now, this is 25 feet, so it's not a big run. Maybe for me now it would be. And he's standing there in the crib, happy as a clam. He's evicted his friends Tigger and Winnie the Pooh, as he always did. He was a terrible landlord. And we're going, go, Jake, are you okay? He goes, yeah, I'm great. I'm like, great. What's so great? He goes, Poppy just came by and he said he was really glad to see how good I was doing and he just wanted to say hello to me. Well, I still get goosebumps on my thing because Poppy was my grandfather and my grandfather died in the 80s. My son was born in 2000. My grandmother was still alive, but she was in her 90s, and if she would talk to us, about her long dead husband, first of all, I doubt that the 2-year-old would remember it. And our kids, well, there was only one at a time, didn't call their grandfathers Poppy. One was Pop, and my father was Grandpa. So the concept of Poppy did not exist in his world. So it was just so weird that I had a dream about my grandfather, and I haven't dreamed about him since. I guess that was his. So I like to think that he was actually checking on me to see that, like, I actually got married, had a child, had a house, and all that, and then he could go on his way. And he checked and then stopped on to see his great grandson. But that was so it was weird and it was real. And I think I don't talk to my ex-wife, and when we communicate, it's very terrible. But I think that if you did somehow talk to her, she would relay this story probably near identically. That's
pretty wild, man.
It is pretty wild. I still get shivers. All right, no paranormal experience, but certainly in Oklahoma, you had some local lore legend, something that mom or grandma or somebody did to keep you, or the other kids did to scare you, or local ghost stories or whatever. Something. There's a Wendigo from the Choctaw. I don't know, something.
Man, I hate to be that guest that doesn't have a good one, but I really don't. And it's weird because I grew up in Choctaw territory. I went to a really small school. I graduated with 16 people in my class, my high school class, man. So we all knew each other really, really well. And I would say a third of the class was had Choctaw heritage and was really in touch. Their grandparents were really in touch with, their native roots and stuff. But I honestly don't have anything like that. You know what I mean?
Well, if any of them yelling at you or me right now, I know the Wendigo is Algonquin. Okay, I know this. I was just saying Wendigo because everyone knows the word. And where we were in Oklahoma, it was a Choctaw, a Chickasaw. And I know there's the Omaha, and I think they're all related to Sioux. I believe. I think they're all Siouan peoples. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I have a friend, Professor Taylor Keene, and he's half Omaha, half Sioux. So he reminds me of what the facts are when I stray. He's been on the other show as well. So no, nothing, no werewolves, no skinwalkers, no witches of the wood. I guess just the shit in your household was bad enough that you didn't need any made up monsters, huh?
That's basically right. Although I do remember the Blair Witch Project, and I was young enough that when the Blair Witch Project came out, that I totally believed the early internet stuff, that it was I real.
I did too.
Did you?
Okay. So it was portrayed. They portrayed it. This is actual footage. All right, dickheads. I had no reason not to believe anybody. Right, and I was in Maryland at the time. And I was adult. I was a young adult, but I was still adult. I lived with a bunch of, it was like the ring of, it was like the New Japan Dojo, it was like 7 guys living in a house, except we were in Baltimore on Light Street, down in Federal Hill.
I only knew what they told me, and that's what they told us.
That's what they told us. And as far as I know, we all believe, there's probably one guy who knew and wasn't going to correct us.
Yeah.
It's just like, my stupid friends think the Blair Witch Project is real. I know you went on a date with him, but he's a loser. Come on a date with me. You know those guys, right?
I think what
No, I'm not a hater.
I didn't say you were. You know those guys, though.
Yeah, dudes despise other dudes.
I had a friend one night that we were just on purpose to each other, just cock blocking each other all night long. Just like every time you talk to someone, you go, hello. Going in between. It was just surreal cock blocking.
that's probably 80% of guys that I know, man. They don't adhere to the bro code at all.
Dude, they don't even know how.
No.
Shout out to bad dude Tito for being the greatest wingman in the history of life. I just want to go on record by saying I've never had someone pull in the clutch more than bad dude Tito after a fucking random MLW show on the sidewalk outside of Center Stage in Atlanta, Georgia, man. God bless that dude. I'll be forever indebted to him for the rest of my life.
Is that a story we can
Looked around in the clutch and needed someone with charisma and no t-shirt on underneath their zip-up hoodie. And bad dude Tito's just standing there in the drizzle.
Okay.
God bless that.
Okay.
Hope he's next to get signed.
Yeah. So what are you doing? I mean, you said OVW on Thursday, so I got you working with Al Snow and the legendary Mickey James.
Did you say Mickey James?
Yeah, she's not there anymore.
No. She's not there anymore.
That's a shame.
Think she's in Louisville?
Yeah.
She got unceremoniously. She got bumped off of LFG unceremoniously. So
Michelle McCool
Did she really? Like what?
Because Michelle McCool wanted to go to work.
off.
Yeah.
they replaced her with Michelle
okay.
McCool. Yeah. So we could have that witty Undertaker, Mrs. Undertaker dynamic, which adds almost nothing to the show. But not that I want trouble with either of them. But yeah, I've always been a Mickey James fan. So yeah. So what else is going on? Is Hollywood Haley J still hanging around there? And what's going on?
Her and Tiffany Nieves both just moved down to Houston to work for Booker. Yeah, they're both killing it down there for Booker. So besides OVW, I work for Rodney Mack at NWA Texas, and then I work for Michael. I work for EC3 at NWA Exodus in Cleveland, Ohio. And then I'm trying to get a hold of Trevor Murdoch this week because I want to go work for WLW. And last time I seen Trevor, he told me he had some ideas about bringing me in and stuff, and I just need to follow up with him. And last couple of weeks been so crazy. I'm very fortunate I get to wrestle full time, and when I'm not on the road, I get to be a stay-at-home dad. And so like when I'm with my 5-month-old daughter, I just kind of put my phone down and, you know what I mean, put it on do not disturb on the nightstand and stuff. And so I've been, but the last couple of weeks been, kind of crazy, family members in the hospital and stuff like that. And so I haven't followed back up with Trevor, but WLW is the next place that I want to go. I love what they're doing, and you can't deny Trevor Murdoch is a genius in the wrestling world, in that old school wrestling style that I love so much.
Yeah, no, you seem like you'd be an NWA guy. I have an insider. I don't know if you can even answer this, but one is, it's semi-personal, but it's not about you. I am not sure if this was speaking facetiously or if this is true, but is Trevor Murdoch's child married to Tyrus's child? Like, are they related by marriage?
I don't know. I've only met his son maybe 4 or 5 times. I don't know if I've ever met Tyrus's daughter.
Okay, because he like Tyrus made a comment about it on social media. Tyrus was actually on the show. He was very personal, and he brought up so the whole thing is he's like, let's start a cult. And it's the cult of the Megalodon, and he's like, well, we need to bring the first person he suggested this. Well, first he said we need Aaron Stevens because he's feeble-minded, so we can shape him, which is not true. Aaron Stevens is very smart. And then he said,
Aaron's a genius. Aaron's a genius. I love Aaron. I actually just talked to Aaron on the phone a couple of days ago. He's an evil genius. I love him.
We'll say hello for Aaron. Was our first guest on the Book of Black, but Aaron has since been on the Garden of Thought, and he's coming back again because I have him sort of in this pairing with this a minister, a reverend from the UK, and they talk about like theater and literature, kind of esoteric stuff. It's like so way behind, above me, but they talked about the occult and Shakespeare, and this time I've got them talking about the esoteric symbolism in like pop culture things like Alice in Wonderland and the Wizard of Oz. So I hope Aaron's going to be a semi-regular, but I mean, twice is still pretty good. Anyway, so So the second person he named was, well, we need Trevor Murdoch because we need someone who can build things, and he can build things. He seems like someone who has saws and hammers, and I'm like, yeah, Tyrus has thought this shit out, so he had a plan. So I actually wrote a whole cosmogony, so I didn't need to share that with him at some point. But the NWA, there's the NWA, there's the Roku deal, and then there's the different territories. And I know that a lot of the wrestlers run the different territories. How does that relationship work? And like, how does that work for you? Like, if the taping or the pay-per-view is in your area or within like 12 hours, are you part of it? Or is it just luck? Or is that just like their main roster, whatever that may be?
So it's mostly, their main roster. I haven't been to a taping in a while. I've gone to a few with EC3, but I usually I don't get personally invited, and so to the main shows. And I know some guys that have gone and gotten lucky and gotten on the show and stuff, but most of the time I'm already on a show, and you know what I mean. So like I don't want to cancel just to go, and you know what I mean.
Right.
But as far as like the territories go, like the territories just they kind of run themselves, you know what I mean? Like EC3 owns Exodus, and Rodney Mack runs NWA Texas, which is actually with two promotions under the NWA Texas. And then you got Joe Kazana and the Page sisters. They own a territory. But they actually kind of run themselves. They run themselves, and they each got a group of people, and then each territory show they'll bring in a couple of NWA guys for each show. Is basically how it is.
Does Billy have the final say on those things, or does he have to be consulted, or not at all? It's not even important.
I honestly don't know. I know like if we're on a show that is live streaming on the NWA's YouTube channel, like we do in Exodus every 6 weeks, he does have like some rules that, like can't go nothing R-rated, stuff like that. But I don't know what the rules are if it's not live streaming on the NWA YouTube channel. You know what I mean?
But he doesn't say who's the champion, or no, you can't go in that direction, or anything like that.
As far as I know, he doesn't. You know what I mean?
That's cool. It's very interesting. The whole thing is interesting. Yeah, no, I think that's
I'd love to see. I'd love to see it keep building, man. Like, more livable wage paying jobs in wrestling is just better for all of us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, well, you guys just got on Roku. So are you feeling that? Does everyone feel great about that? Is there going to be bumps to everyone, or you're just like saying this seems like a good thing and it'll trickle down to us?
Yeah, that's basically the vibe I get, is like, I hope it just trickles down to the territories. Like maybe, what was it? Like, it was before my time, but like Vince McMahon, like WWE used to do a thing where like he would, he had an hour block on TV, and he would air a match from here, and then air a match from here, and air a match from there. And I think hopefully that that's the goal one day, is to have like maybe a second show that's like a territory show on Roku, where like they air a match from JCP, and then air a match from NWA Texas, and then NWA Exodus and stuff like that. That's just what like I've heard people say like they would.
Yeah, it makes the most sense, because it just puts the spotlight on each little territory and some of the wrestlers specifically, and naturally gives everyone the bump. So for sure,
exactly,
that would be the ideal.
And you had Natty, but
exactly.
Are there going to be any more visitations from any big names like an Natalia Neidhart?
I hope so, man. I hope so, because I thought that was really cool for her to come in and do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's doing that.
Doors open for a little bit of everything these days.
Yeah, she's going AAA. She's like doing the Rocky Romero thing. Go whatever. Except I don't think she's there with anybody.
They should do that with a lot of people. Like her, like Natty, Amasis, like these people should be everywhere but on WWE TV.
Yeah, and if you're gonna keep people
in the flag,
have like what Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, who are like the least WWE wrestlers, run the contract. Send them around.
Yeah, like I mean, why not? Like, I mean, it takes the WWE brand everywhere. Like, you got so many jacked, like, I mean, so many, like that roster is so jacked. Like you could send a third of them, on the road to work at, all around the world. You know what I mean? and it would just bring the spotlight back to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. And maybe
We can have MJF at MLW. Anything can happen.
it's true.
Yeah.
Anything can happen in WWF. That's what the young guns used to say.
I think the dots were connected by CMLL. Not even nobody else who even thought of it.
Yeah,
To expand storylines across all platforms.
It all comes back to CMML, and it all comes back to the Gospel of Thomas.
Always.
What's next for MLW?
My prediction will be a streaming service or a TV deal for the next calendar year, but I'm not going to drop any scoops. But you heard it here first. Something's coming. Everything's coming. Everyone's getting paid. We ain't just sitting around waiting, but I don't know any specifics. Somebody tells me nothing. I'm so far on the bottom of the totem pole. I'm still trying to get reimbursed for an Uber I took last month, but no, I'm let me stop. That's just a joke. I am squared up on all my bullshit. I am sometimes just a travel princess, but no, definitely streaming deal coming up. I prefer terrestrial television, but that's just me being greedy. I don't ever understand the idea. I'm not shitting on anyone specifically, but if the tape library is on Apple TV, how many, paying customers does that trickle down to when it comes to, new customers buying tickets for a show? Because I understand that the wrestling people are going to continue to just watch wrestling, and your fan base now just moves from wherever you were before to whatever your new platform is. I just don't understand how streaming services bring new customers as opposed to the customers you already have, or the very few customers that give a fuck about wrestling that just didn't have access to your channel or platform. How many that converts into. But I'm curious to sit back and watch. So
Same.
for wrestling. I mean, we just want everything to be good for wrestling. I feel like we're in a boom period. I feel like it's about to be another boom period. It doesn't seem like wrestling's getting worse or watered down somehow, which is almost preposterous. But I think the bigger audience across all channels will just make things grow, and hopefully also my fucking pockets. Because god damn, I'm ready to fucking get a good payout for some dumbass marketing deal that was done on, European fucking trading cards that I'll never get fucking one in the mail, but as long as the paychecks come.
That's right. Sign up with a Polish national television. There you go. That's where the big rubles are at.
Where's my lunchbox? Damn it!
Yeah, where is your lunchbox? Everyone should have a Mr.
Thomas lunchbox.
I mean, everybody with the last name Thomas should have one anyway. It's a Mr. Thomas lunchbox for Mr. Thomas.
It's also the size of a Money in a Bank briefcase. So.
Oh, excellent. Well, let's see. It's a workout also. Do your 10,000 steps, hold that thing, and that's great. Just shift arms and all right, Mr. Fox. Other than what you tell us, or you feel free to repeat, where can people find and follow you and support you, and then what else you got going
on? So I'm mostly on Instagram at Battleborn Leo Fox, and on what used to be Twitter, which is now X, which is Battleborn Fox, man.
All right. Thomas, plug your stuff.
I'm chilling right now on vacation, but you can watch me in a previously taped live event that airs on August 9th on the YouTube, MLW.com. Check me in Dallas, Texas on the 13th of September. We will be back down there for more fucking wrestling and lucha. I think I know the date after that. I can't remember it right now. The month of October. I forget where we're at. I should have been prepared for this. Why do you do this to me?
You're in Texas. It's Fightland. You're outside Dallas, right?
I do this every day when I'm like planning my life, when people ask me for, events and come to my wedding and RSVP for this bullshit. Let's do this right. It's Fightland, September 13th in Dallas, Texas. And then October 4th, I knew I was somewhere in the month of October. We're back in Los Angeles, California, which is a great place. Despite what all the crazy people say on the internet, is they deliver weed to the hotel room. I understand some other people in here may not indulge, but for those who do, the more the merrier. We love LA. And then last but not least, Chirac. We're going to Chicago on November 15th. MLW.com. Get your tickets now. We've been on a streak to sell out. Dallas is always a good crowd. I think we can do 2,000, maybe 2,500 in this building. I think we sold a little short last time, but that's just my prediction. So get your tickets while we're hot, dog. And don't jump on the gravy train when we end up on Apple TV, or we end up on whatever the Hulus are, or whatever their streaming services are. Don't come asking if you can work on my show, because I'm going to say no. Just kidding.
Right.
Email me and I'll tell you what type of food to bring, and I'll give you the person's email address.
That's right. He needs food, but
They're easily buyable. Like if you offer to take me to coffee or buy me lunch, he's with me. Let him come in. Yeah, come set some chairs up. Hit me up.
yeah, this is sort of our show's mantra. Is that we are.
All right, Thomas, I will remember that.
We're corrupt. Yeah. NWA invades MLW or MLW invades NWA. I think that'd be great.
I will hit you up if I end up in the state of Oklahoma.
He's not there anymore. He's in Clevelandish now.
Oh, you live in Cleveland?
No. I'm back in Oklahoma. I just lived in Cleveland for 6 months. I'm actually only 2 hours north of Dallas, so I may just have to hit you up and slide down and see you in Dallas.
You should swing by. I may be actually driving up that weekend to come to Oklahoma, so we'll see. We'll meet in the middle.
I just saw a good friend.
Hey, what?
Trouble Ben Bishop.
Hey, I know Big Ben, man. Cracks me up, man.
He's funny. He's a funny dude, and you know the people in the crowd are like, who's that big tall guy? Who's that really big guy? No one knew who he was, and somehow he was on the Ellsworth's bad guy team, and somehow Baron Corbin was the face.
I've been curious about that, and we should have him back on. But I've been curious of how his TikTok fame translates to people in real life at shows in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, wherever the fuck he was last week, in the middle of nowhere, not like his normal.
He was in Maryland last week because I was there, and he sold 3 tickets, mine, my wife's, and her son.
And the crowd reaction was like, "This man's just tall. We never seen him before," despite there being wrestling fans.
Well, I mean, he was in a 6-person match with Enzo, you know, your friend from work, Bishop Dyer, former Baron Corbin, was there. Shotzi was there.
Those are my friends from work. I will say both of those humans are my friends from work.
That's right. So, I mean, this was a whole thing. So I think people were confused, like, who to cheer for, because you know that Shotzi's on the good guy team, and you know that Ellsworth's on the bad guy team.
But the other guy's 7 foot tall.
Yeah, and Baron Corbin's on the good guy team. And
6'12".
Yeah, 6'12". But we bought a shirt and the whole thing, and like I said, I'm a good mark. I pay my money.
I don't think investing in TikTok time in wrestling is like a translation. If you catch my drift, I wouldn't if I was giving a fucking stupid speech at a wrestling school, I wouldn't say like you should get your TikTok following up, because it doesn't necessarily equate to bookings, but it could equate to other things.
Yeah, it could equate to stalking. I mean, I think that you're right that if you're too available, nobody needs to pay and move to see you. So I think if that's what you're trying to say, you're right. Yeah. I think you're right. There's a lot of creepers out there, and there's a lot of sort of broken people in the wrestling community. It's disproportionate, and so yeah, you could get a lot of creepy stuff. But hey, that was happy. Wow, what a fun end that was. All right. Well, listen, if you're listening to the show and you don't know where to find me, it's strange, but perhaps you're a friend or fan of Leo's and you're checking him out. So if you want to find me on the X, it's dose_evil for mostly wrestling nonsense. If you want at Icarus Fell MD, that's it's sort of dormant, but it exists. And my podcasts are called The Garden of Thought, and GOT presents The Gospel of Thomas as this one. Garden of Thought, just think of it sort of like Joe Rogan without the broness and utter embrace of conspiracy, and not the celebrities either, or the success. So, like Joe Rogan, except nothing like it at all. And I do a bunch of stuff with Wrestling Soup as well. We review LFG. My co-host on that is the legendary Lufisto. And I also do the only podcast that covers Evolve that we know of, called The Dose of Chocolate. And right now, Marie Shadows is my co-host covering for White Chocolate, who's neither white nor chocolate. So they're all on Wrestling Soup. So there you go. That's all of the me stuff. Leo Fox, thanks so much. I know that you've been going through some stuff, so I'm glad that we could work this out. Hope everything is well there. You're welcome back anytime. Say hello to all of my friends that I think are my friends that probably don't remember me. Or maybe, Aaron does, because I text him and he returns my texts, usually. EC3's probably long forgotten who I was. But I do want to talk to him about Genesis 6. Anyway, good luck to everyone. We had Tiffany Nuevis on the show, too. Your friend from work. So, small world. All right, everyone. Thomas probably has dates to go on or other chaos to ensue. So great seeing you. Best of luck to you, Leo, and your stuff in NWA. Thomas, get that streaming deal and enjoy your vacation. Hopefully we'll talk in between that. Everybody else, see you later.